Hi, love. How you doing? You alright? I wasn't sure about doing this podcast. To be honest, I'm still not. I'm going to record it. So if you're listening to it, then I obviously decided to post it. And if you're not listening to it, well, it never made it out there. I want to talk about ADHD. And potentially autism. I don't know. I'll start with ADHD. Now, at the minute, there's just an insane amount of media coverage on ADHD. It's kind of I don't really understand it, which immediately gets my little radar going, my little tin hat brigade, my onboard tin hat detector. When I see on just mainstream TV a sudden interest in ADHD and sort of influency type celebrities doing shows on 3-letter TV channels about my ADHD journey and the sudden push behind it, yeah, my little tin hat is going, there's an agenda. And some of you are probably cracking up now, like, fuck's sake, what's he on about now? But I don't think I'm far wrong. I hadn't really thought about it. I'd never really assessed myself on that scale. People have joked, people have asked me all my life, you got ADHD? And I kind of dismissed it. And it's like, well, no, because I wasn't the naughty kid in school. And that's kind of all I knew about it, was the naughty kids in school. Some of them had ADHD. I didn't know anybody that had ADHD that wasn't the naughty kid in school. Put it that way. So that was the common denominator. They're the naughty kid. Which I wasn't really the naughty kid. I was a little bit fidgety and a little bit distracted, but I wasn't really the naughty kid. So I kind of like, nah, that's not me. Whatever. People have joked that I'm autistic. I don't know. I definitely have some traits of it, but until diagnosed or assessed or whatever you want to call it, I don't really want to go into that. I think it's a little disrespectful to people that genuinely are diagnosed ADHD or autistic for people that are just a little bit more enthusiastic or a little bit more I'm somebody trying to say, obviously when I say someone that's a bit more enthusiastic, I'm referring to ADHD. Yeah, that's me. I have that high energy-ness about me sometimes. Other times I'm just dead, quiet, don't want to know, fuck off. I also have the trait that you quite often find, but not always, with autistic people, where we have a thing that we become obsessed with and want to know every ins and outs of all of it. I have a common theme in that, but I think it's a little disrespectful to just be one of these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm autistic. Because if you're not, well, where does, you know what I mean? You get what I'm getting at. Just as like, it always makes my skin crawl when people have like an immaculate house and they're like, I'm OCD. No, you're not, because people with OCD are living in hell because it controls their life. It's sort of, you're just someone that likes having a clean house and you hate it when people wear shoes indoors. There are people with OCD that are frantically cleaning because they're terrified that their family are going to die if they don't. It's a bit disrespectful of you to go, oh, take your shoes off, I've got OCD, if you don't. I'm the same with ADHD and autism. I sort of think, yes, I have some quirky character traits, and I may later down the line be diagnosed or not. But until then, I'm not really going to jump on the bandwagon and refer to myself with these titles. That's why I was hesitant about making this podcast. But I figured actually my story and my opinion or my thought process on it might be of benefit to someone listening, because it's kind of been of benefit to me. So my first sort of experience of ADHD, and when it perked my interest and I thought, oh, hang on a minute, this is summing me up pretty bloody well, was Tommy Mallet, who he became famous off of The Only Way Is Essex. Since then, he's gone on and built an amazing shoe company on his own, like trainers. Done really well for himself, really, really well for himself. And he's actually a really interesting character. If you detract from The Only Way Is Essex, right, all of you that just rolled your eyes when I said that, forget that. Get that mindset and that attitude out of your head. He's a very clever lad that saw an opportunity to go on a show, to create a platform for himself, to be able to pursue a career and a business that he really wanted to have a go at. And I think hats off to him, because that's exactly what he's done. He used the platform, he made a name for himself, he understood the game. You know, he was a bit of a bad boy back in the day, and used that to become more well known. And then once he'd done that, he shut his mouth, he got his head down, and he's done a shitload of work. And he's pulled it off, and he's got an amazing company and an amazing setup off the back of it. However, he was diagnosed with ADHD, and in a recent show that he did with his now wife, he was explaining ADHD, how it's affected his life, all the rest of it. And I was sat here listening, just by chance. I was watching the programme. I was like, holy shit, that's me. And went online, looked it all up, read about the sort of the main traits of ADHD. I pretty much tick the box for all of them. I am on a waiting list for the NHS to go and see somebody to see if it applies to me or not. It's like a 10-year wait, so don't expect anything happening anytime soon. I sit about 50-50. I think I might not. I don't know. It's an odd one. As much as at first I was like, yeah, 100%. Now I just think, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll wait and see what they say. I looked into private. You can go private and get a diagnosis, or not diagnosis, but have the assessment done and all the rest of it. Looked into private, asked about cost. It's not very cheap, so it's like, oh, can't really afford it then. Or I can, but is it really that big a deal? Does it really warrant spending money like that on it, just to find out what will change, what won't change, what options are at the end of it? You could be medicated. Do I want to be getting medicated? Do I not want to become medicated? Don't know. Then a Panorama documentary came out just about exactly the same time as I looked into going private, where they found that the NHS assessment takes hours, right? So it's a real thorough assessment. They look into your family history, they look at everything. They want to know everything about you to really get a bigger picture, to understand and make the proper decision, which I'm a little anti-NHS anyway. Not as a concept, just as a... Yeah, I won't get into that. So I was like, I don't know about this, I'll go private. And then I heard about this, I was like, actually, I like what the NHS are doing. Because the private guys, it's literally a 20-minute questionnaire. Congratulations, here's your ADHD. Which medication would you like? And it's like, now my little tin hat's going beep, 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 beep. Like, why are you doing a really quick questionnaire on something that's actually quite complex and dishing out medication? To me, that sounds like someone's pushing something to me. Like, And that's kind of what the Panorama lot figured out. So that was a bit of a spanner in the works for me, because I thought, ideal, I'm going to save my money, I'll go private, get it dealt with, go medicated, life will be better. Since then, I'm kind of like, actually, I really want to understand myself. If I do have ADHD, then I really want to understand what it is, how it works, what's going on with it all, like how can I use it to make my life better, because there's a lot of people out there now that have been diagnosed, had this understanding, almost like counselling in how to work with it, because one of the major benefits is a hyperfocus, and I get this basically daily. Around mid-morning for me, I'm in a hyperfocus. So if I can land myself a job in mid-morning at work that requires intense focus and concentration, no distractions, I've got about 3 hours where I basically don't even need to breathe. Like, my brain is so tuned in on what I'm doing. It's like everything shut up. I'm in it. I mean, I'm going in. And then when I'm out of that, I can't concentrate on anything. It's just like, no, I'm just like a Labrador, like, oh, stick, squirrel, shiny thing. I can't do it. So I want to work with that and figure it out. Medication side of things, I don't. At first, I was like, yep, that's the way for me. I'll be able to concentrate on stuff. I'll be able to get things done better because I won't be distracted. My life will be better. Everyone will be happy. Blah, blah, blah. Now I'm kind of sat here thinking, I don't know. Me being the way I am gets the things done that I get done. And creates crazy ideas and allows me to sit here and talk to a podcast on my own entirely. I don't have notes. I literally have nothing. The only way I plan for these podcasts is I have a list on my phone of topics that I think of as I go about my day, of things I wanted to talk about to hopefully help people and shed some light on. So the only note I had for this podcast, I just wrote ADHD. That was it. That's all the prep I've done. Nothing else. So my quirky brain and how it functions and flies, and as you can hear by how fast I talk and how passionate I get about Japanese hand playing competitions, which if you haven't looked at yet, yeah, get back to it, because it's just... I just don't know how you can't get excited. Sorry, I'm getting excited just thinking about it now. Just that, like, when you watch them pulling that plane toward, like, just... God, it's just something, isn't it? So, what am I about? My brain, having this character about it, allows me to pursue things that are fun to me. Like, this podcast is just... I don't really know where it's going to go. I might just get to 20 episodes and go, nope, brain's empty, I'm done. Or I might still be here in 30 years' time doing 2 podcasts a week because my brain just keeps generating cool shit. I don't know, and to be honest, I don't really care. As long as I feel I got my money back on this mic, I'm happy. And I might just have to sell the mic second hand at a decent price if I do run out of ideas. There's plenty of people who want to go doing gaming tutorials on YouTube, so I'm sure I could sell it to one of them. So yeah, I don't really want to go medicated because I might lose my edge. Even if it is a bit of a weird edge, I've learnt to quite like it, because I wouldn't be me without that edge. And sometimes I hate that me with that edge because it's too distracted, it's too reactive and bouncy and chaos. Like, I have 1,000 unfinished projects because I basically get into a hyper focus to do it, and then it's like I get nearly there, and because it's basically done, I've lost interest. So I'll see you later. Done now. I wanted to build a Japanese tea house, and I went like the fucking clappers for like 4 days at it, and it hasn't changed in the last 3.5 years, because it's like it's nearly done, so therefore my brain's just like, yeah, no, I'm not interested anymore. I'm not really bothered. So it's like it's sat there just nearly finished because my brain just can't get back into it. I can't re-engage in it, which is probably why I think I might have ADHD or something. But until then, the jury's out. I don't know that I want to be medicated, because even if I was medicated and then I could look at it rationally and go, come on, let's go and finish the tea house. and then we'll go and finish this job, and then we'll go and finish that job. I don't know. I just know that I wouldn't start the next fun thing. I quite like starting fun things, like the podcast. To just boom, let's go and do it. Let's get all excited and do it. I want to buy a kettlebell. Have you seen how expensive kettlebells are? I was looking. I've been waiting. Unwind a little bit. So I want to do some weights. Resistance training is proven to aid everything later in life. Improve bone density, improve just everything. We should all be doing resistance training. It's irrelevant about worrying about strength and size and all the rest of it. Just do it for your own future health. So I wanted to do it. I'm not interested in having a home gym set up, so I just thought, I'll get some kettlebells. I understand fitness enough that I could put a decent program together for myself and it would work for me. So I was looking around. I ended up going to a gym, chatting to the guy that owned the gym. I said, right, kettlebells. Like, I've been looking online, but I have no idea what weight I need to buy. Like, normally, if you wanted just like a bench set up, you just buy the bar and you buy a selection of weights and you can add or remove weights to make it heavier or lighter. It's quite straightforward. Kettlebells, they're already that weight. I don't know if I need to go and buy a 20 kilo kettlebell or an 8 kilo or a 45. I literally have no idea. But I don't really want to buy a full set of everything because I don't know where the fuck I'd put them. So I got chatting to him, and interestingly, I didn't know this either, so I'm going to tell you now because I'm on a tangent. Kettlebells, if you buy higher quality, more expensive kettlebells, and you buy what they call competition kettlebells, they're all the same size. So you basically have like a 48 kilo solid mass kettlebell, whatever size that comes out at. I don't know the dimensions, but whatever size that is, that's what they all are down from that, and they basically make them less solid. They're just more and more hollow as you go down the weight. And that means that when you progress and you get stronger and stronger, the size of the thing you're holding and the dimensions of it don't change. So you get used to how you roll your wrist and move to this position, move to that position and grip it and all the rest of it. The handle's the same size, the height off the ground, everything about it stays the same, so that your muscle memory doesn't get thrown out and like, well, what the fuck, this is a new kettlebell. It just gets heavier. And I thought, that's bloody genius, I like that. So I was like, right, well, I'm going to get a couple of these in. Went online, so I decided 16 kilos going to be the one I first start with. I had a feel with it, and yes, I can pick a heavier one off the ground, but I want to be able to have correct technique and form and all the rest of it and learn the ropes of it and get the hang of it. So I was like, right, 16 then, get that. Went online. How much do you reckon? One single kettlebell, right? How much do you reckon? Well, I'm glad you asked. 85 quid. I'm a mate. I can't. Brain. 85 quid for a fucking kettlebell. The one that's 48 kilos is like 300 quid. It's fucking insane. So needless to say, I haven't bought a kettlebell yet. I will one day, I promise. And when I do, I'll report back and let you know how happy I am with my new kettlebell. Because it'll be yellow. But, in the meantime, 85 quid for a bloody kettlebell. That's just... I'm lost for words. I thought it would be like 35, 40 quid at most. Matey's like, oh, they're not cheap. I was like, that's alright, like 40 quid. But it's cheaper than going to the gym, isn't it? So it'd be fine. 85 quid! What the fuck was I talking about? Yeah, I don't know. ADHD, brain tangents. Nah, I don't know how I got onto that one. But yeah, that's my point. I'm trying to sympathise, I guess, with people that feel a little bit like they don't know who they are, they don't know where they belong. They're a bit of an outcast because they have interests in things that other people don't find interesting. And the lack of interest in things that other people do find interesting, you're not alone, because I am that person. I was chatting to Chris the other day. He was saying to me, like, do you ever get it where... Oh no, I think it was, you must get it, I guess. No, what the fuck did he say? It was, do you ever get it? Or do you find... Do you find, I think is probably how it went. So do you find that normal life and normal people are just boring? And I was like, to be honest, yeah, basically, because I don't really give a shit about who's going on holiday where. Like, the average conversation, like, weddings are a nightmare for me. Like, the idea of going to a wedding is just like, I think it's going to be great. I get well excited because I think, yeah, we'll have a few beers, bit of a dance, bit of music, all the rest of it. And then I get there and I remember that I'm not a social person, I don't really like drinking, and I'm not a massive fan of dancing. So actually a wedding is a fucking nightmare, because I like getting into a deep conversation and learning something about something. I want to find the most interesting person with the weirdest job, and I want to do a deep dive on like everything there is to know about that. But no one wants to talk about that at a wedding, because they've all gone for a drink and a dance and a bit of a laugh. They don't want me going like, oh really, it's that. Like the other week I went to a wedding back in the summer, and I was well happy because the guy I sat next to, he works on a farm where they conduct like environmental studies. So they play around with different crops and different shit like that to see how it affects water runoff and nutrient uptake in the soil, blah blah blah. But they also have cattle and sheep, I think he said, but they definitely got beef cattle. And they were just trialling diets, and I was like, oh, fucking ideal. I'll ask you this then. I said, I know that in New Zealand, they started feeding cattle in New Zealand just a tiny, tiny amount of a certain type of kelp, as in seaweed kelp, just a real tiny amount each day, and that reduced the methane emissions of that cow by like 80%, because it just acts as like an inhibitor. It stops the cow from generating methane. But they've been doing this in New Zealand for a good few years now, probably 5-6 years. So I said to him, like, have we started doing that in this country? Because if they're going to do it in this country, it'll be him that's doing it. He's like, how the fuck do you know about that? I said, well, because I'm a sado, basically. I just know this shit. I need to get a life. He's like, we've literally just started doing that study now. I said, fucking hell, so we're that far behind New Zealand then, are we? He's like, I didn't even know they were doing it in New Zealand. Like, he works there. He's the man that's running the show. But, like, it was news to him. But that's my point. I want to talk about shit like that. I was very fortunate there that he was willing to talk about it. He was obliging. Even though I could tell he's a little bit like, you're a freak, mate. So, if you are a bit of a freak like me, reach out, because, oh, thank Christ. Like, to me, it'd be ideal that I can get all nerdy and talk about shit with someone. Because I don't even give a shit about what the topic is. I just want to go deep dive on it. Like, if you make envelopes for a living, I want to know. Yeah, what's that? How do you stick the folds together in an envelope? Like, what glue are you using? What's it made of? Like, is it sprayed on? Is it brushed on? Do you do it by hand, or is it all a machine? Shit like that. I wonder these things, like, how do they do that? So if you're a freak, you're not a freak. Everyone else is just boring. So I sympathise with you, but you don't need to feel pressured into getting diagnosed. You definitely don't need to feel pressured into getting medicated. Just take it easy. Get in touch with me. We can be little freaks together. Go and look at Japanese hand playing competitions. I'm sorry, I just can't resist it. Just, it is exciting, alright? It is. And look up cattle and kelp and methane, because it's quite interesting. This is quite fascinating. It does make you think, like, we're onto something here. Nature does seem to have all the answers for us, because it's not complicated. If you just let the cows eat a bit of kelp, boom, shuts all the light. Yeah, those people. We won't get into that. Shuts them up. yeah, that's my take on ADHD. So if you're listening to this, I decided to post it. If you're not, well, then you're not listening, are you? You wouldn't know, would you? Right. That's ADHD and me. Goodbye, you bloody legends.